Hey, remember how I said we'd work on the eye thing? Working on it. So, today was my first day at the Mayo Clinic in good old Rochester, Minnesota. I went in not really knowing what to expect. I guess a lot of people, they get a packet before they go, but because this was kind of last minute, I got an earlier appointment. My packet was never sent to me, and I had no clue what to expect. I had no map. I was on my own. So I walked from the hotel room, the Great Gatsby one that you see right here, to the Mayo Clinic. It was a 2-minute walk. It was a little rainy. It didn't really matter because most of the places I was walking, even though it was like on the street, they were covered because there's a lot of like hotels in the area. So no big deal. And went to the ninth floor. Mine was in the main building. It's called the Gonda building. Ninth floor to have consult with what I thought would be the doctor. Checked in, um, and they gave me a packet of information. I guess it's the packet I would have filled out had I not had such an earlier appointment. Um, and they then, as I was still filling that out, they took me into the back, and they were like, "Okay, you're gonna meet with the nurse practitioner first." And I was a bit confused because, quite frankly, um, over the past few days, Mayo has not been the best at scheduling appointments and told me that I would be meeting with a provider considering the complexity of my case and not the nurse practitioner as originally planned, which I was grateful for. But that didn't happen. I still met with the nurse practitioner first today. She was really nice. She wanted to get like a history of this swallowing problem, and I didn't really know where to start. I was kind of bouncing all over the place. I had offered her on my phone. I wrote down the history more, concretely, more succinctly, and I was like, "This is just I don't want to bounce all over the place because there's a lot to the history, and this is why I wrote it down. Would you mind taking a look at this?" And she's like, "Yeah, let's just see if we can talk it out first." She did eventually look at the phone. I mean, there's a lot to the history. So she took a history, and then she said, "I'm not really sure that there's much more that we can do for you. You've had all of the tests that you need for this. But I hate that you would have come out here and like not had not have any tests." So she didn't really paint the prettiest of pictures, which I mean I appreciate because bluntness is like totally the way for me. Um, and she said, "But you still see the doctor." So the doctor comes in maybe 10 minutes later, um, talks to me, draws out this. It was really sweet, by the way. This doctor, his name's Dr. Ravi, draws out this diagram for me, which I would appreciate had I not already done my research. But he was explaining it to me as though somebody who wouldn't understand what's going on, and I'm like pretty apprised on what's going on, even if it can't be explained clinically at this point, which it can sort of, by the way. It's just I knew what he was saying. We like gone through that list before, but he did give me a nice picture. Did say, are there any other questions that you'd like to ask? And it was just a really genuine doctor, good patient, care, bedside manner. That's the word. And so after I had my session with him, then he brings me back out to a not quite the waiting area, like in between the waiting area and the actual room I met him in. He brings me to there and he says, "Okay, just wait outside in the waiting room. Though maybe in 20-25 minutes, we'll get an appointment for you. We'll get a packet printed out with where you need to go when." And so I waited maybe 10 minutes. They call my name and they're like, "Okay, this is what the schedule is." And they show me and I was like, they're like, "Yeah, one of your appointments, like, were you planning on staying through the weekend?" And it's Thursday right now. I was like, "Yeah, I know." I was like, "I was." And they're like, "Okay, because we couldn't get one of your appointments until Friday, but that doesn't mean, like, Friday of next week. But that doesn't mean that you wouldn't get a sooner appointment, we have something called checker status. You familiar with that? No, I'm not familiar with that. Okay, well, what it is you take this like packet to where you need to go. You check in at the desk. You basically you get put on a wait list. They give you a pager to wait. You have to be like on in that waiting area / on that floor the whole time that you have the pager. And you wait to see if you can get an appointment earlier, like that day. And this person told me, if you don't get it today, you repeat the process again tomorrow, after this one procedure that was already scheduled for tomorrow. So I was like, okay, sounds like an interesting system. Who knows? I mean, I did get in early to Mayo Clinic after all because of a kind of a similar procedure in terms of I called every day to see if I could get an earlier appointment than the one that was initially scheduled for the 8th of September. So I got the appointment, or the beeper. I got a little beeper to wear around with me. I did get permission to go down to get some ice on the basement floor. Subway, they call it the subway, to get ice for my supplement. And with my pager, believe it or not, they did allow that. But it was kind of a secret. And then I waited. And I waited quite long. And at around 2:45, well, throughout the day that I was checking in, like, do you think I might get in? How about now? And then the person from the original floor calls me and was we were discussing, should I still be a checker if I have, they were able to move my appointments forward, a lot of them, procedures and appointments till tomorrow. And I was like, should I still be a checker for today? And was kind of waiting to hear back from her on that. And then eventually she was like, well, you don't really need to since it's tomorrow. And then anyway, somebody had approached me at around 2:45, like, well, there's not going to be any openings for today for what you need. Okay, no problem. I left. Came back to my room where I am now. Super not bored, because this is very unlike me to make videos. But I decided, just because it's unlike me doesn't mean it can't become me. I'm not gonna become a video, but like maybe a video. No, not a videographer. Comedian. No, I'm not funny enough for that. I just want to be able to relay information to people who are wondering what the hell goes on at Mayo. One friend called it a camp. It's kind of like camp. I could see that if I got to play in the sun and chill with a lot of people and do a lot of fun things. But I kind of waited all day, which could be fun to be in my own mind a little bit. Anyway, that was just a piece of my mind for today, and I guess I'll give another update tomorrow. Bye.